Hello, I'm back. How are you doing? Can you hear me now? I hope so. It's me, it's Birdie. Welcome to Birdie's Crime Chat. And I'm going to try to be a little quiet. I don't know if you guys heard this before, but everybody here's gone to sleep. So I'm trying to be quiet so I don't wake them up. Hey, Borrowed Angel, thank you for coming back. Hey, Darlene, how are you, honey? Good to see you. Burnt Dirt, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Can you hear me this time? I actually see my icon moving, like it's picking up what I'm saying, so I think that might be a good sign. It's funny because I'm a Gen Xer, and we were pretty poor growing up. We didn't have a computer, so I didn't grow up with one, and I didn't learn pretty much how to use one until I got into college, and that was a very long time ago. And so many things have changed since then. And, it was just a couple of computer classes that I took, just enough for my prerequisites. And I didn't really learn a lot of anything having to do with creating videos or live streams or anything that happens in today's technological world. So you have to bear with me. I'm totally green, and I would have thought that I would have gotten better by now, but not so much. Have y'all had a good day today? I hope you have. Burnt Dirt said this one notified through my phone as well, but the last one didn't. I wonder why. I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't give it much, like I didn't schedule it ahead of time. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. Did you all do anything today fun? Hang out at home? Are you having a good weekend? It's gotten really cold here. It's 40 degrees right now. It's freezing. Someone had even mentioned, I think it might snow like toward Thanksgiving this week. We may get some snow showers. I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming. You know, the old wives' tale of if you cut open a persimmon and you look in the center, it'll either have a fork, a knife, or a spoon. And I believe that most of the persimmons that they had cut open were showing spoons, which means that you're going to be shoveling a lot of snow. I was like, oh my gosh. I love the snow, though. I was born in a blizzard, and I always said I was a snow baby. I think it's fun to play in it. I also like to drive in it. I think it's exciting. I just worry about the other ones, the other crazy people on the road, you know. You got to worry about them. Darlene said it's cold here in Tennessee. Yes, ma'am, it is. It's freezing. Burnt Dirt said home, then off, and on YouTube all day Saturday, or all day, sat on porch in warmer air today with husband. It was nice. Well, I'm glad you had a good day. Your dad always said that too, Darlene. That's funny. Okay, guys, so I wanted to do a video and talk about some things. And mostly it was regarding Summerwell's case. I'm going to put the tip line streaming on the banner right there. For anybody that doesn't know, I know you guys all do, but I don't know if anybody's joining that hadn't said anything yet. But Summer, at the time that she was reported missing, she was 5 years old, and she was reported missing on June 15th of 2021. Summer has blonde hair, blue eyes. She was reported missing from Rogersville, Tennessee, in the Beach Creek community off of the 100 block of Ben Hill Road. She was reportedly last wearing a pink shirt and gray pants. Summer was approximately 40 pounds in weight, and they had said she was around 3 feet tall. However, I feel like she was probably closer to 3.5 to 4 foot tall, just based on some pictures and when she's standing up, how tall she looked to me. So Summer has now been missing for over 2.5 years, or right at July, August, September, October, November, almost 2.5, right? Yeah. That's a long time. Burnt said Sagittarius here. Awesome. You wonder who said she was 4? You mean 4 years old, Darlene? I think when they initially called and the first reports went out, Summer was said to have been 4 years old, and that was quickly changed, if that's what you're referring to. Yes, okay. Yeah, I wonder that too. Because I guess on the 911 call, or the dispatch, actually, the dispatcher that was notifying the police of her being reported missing, she said 4-year-old, didn't she? So that surely was communicated that way. And I don't know. Do you all think that Summer actually went missing on June 15th? Do you think that she could have been missing before that? I've wondered that myself. I think about all the things that the mother said that they were doing that day, none of which law enforcement would confirm or deny, right? The events of going to the hospital, going to Warriors Pass State Park and swimming, dropping off a prescription at Walgreens, picking up a prescription at Walgreens. They talked about going to the smoke shops and getting vapes, a twisted tea, dropping off H, picking up H, dropping off H, going to Priceless, getting milk. But Ellie has never, law enforcement has never confirmed that or denied it. It's just been her statements to the public, to the media. And they've never said that Summer actually went missing on June 15th. In any written documentation that I found from TBI or statements that Ellie has made, they've always said that she was reported missing on June 15th, and no further statements will be made regarding the timeline. And in my opinion, the timeline includes all of those events from that day that were given to the public. Do you guys see it that way? Hey, was his. Thank you for joining. You said, I believe in a state of panic. There's no telling what the parents said. It's shocking for something to happen to your child. Yes, I agree. It would be extremely shocking, and anyone would panic. Burnt Dirt said, I think it's possible to fake a video recording on a particular day on your phone if you record the screen of another phone, if you know what you're doing. Dorleen Jody Sue Brown said, she called also. I'd never heard that before. Bart Angel, that's interesting. That she had called law enforcement or 911? Bart Angel, is that what you're saying? I do feel like if something, let's say something traumatic, excuse me, if something traumatic had happened to Summer, I feel like it would have taken a lot of time to initiate some type of cover-up in terms of hiding things or hiding evidence or creating the timeline while dealing with the sadness and shock of whatever happened to her. Partner said, meaning you can make a digital data record that is inaccurate. I believe that's where the age 4 came from. It may have. I wonder if any of the other children thought that she was 4 or didn't remember that she was, 5. Because Summer had only been 5 for what, 4 months? Yeah. Just for 4 months. I'm glad that I didn't get to see the live stream today that Smiley Stories World did. And I didn't get to see, I don't think, the live that Justin Frall did when they were discussing the milk jug video that was allegedly recorded that day. But I do think it's important to talk about it because there's been so much, there's been so much that we've talked about with that video, right? From every detail that you can imagine, the way Summer looked, the vehicle itself, trying to figure out which vehicle it was. Was it in fact the Silverado? Was it the Suburban? Was it the Subaru? And it's funny because initially the father, Summer Wells, said that he drove the Subaru that day and said that for a very long time. That day meaning June 15th. However, after things started to come out that were showing conflicting stuff about the video and about the vehicle, he changed it. He changed what he said. And he said he drove it the day before, the 14th. Burnt Dirt said she would like to know what happened on the 13th. I would too. And the 14th. The 3 days at least preceding up to June 15th. Was his said, I've never believed the milk jug video was from that day. And I'm going to kind of drop a bombshell on you guys. I kind of have conflicting information about that, or conflicting thoughts about it. So I wish I could show you the video. I wish I could put it up on my screen. I don't believe I have it saved though anywhere that I can access it from my laptop. But the point is the way Summer is sitting, how she is slouched over, her head and neck are pretty much erect. Like, normally when you see a sleeping child in the back of a car, their neck is bent, right? They're to where your chin goes down to touch your chest. That's total relaxation when one is sleeping. But Summers is not like that. She is leaned up against the milk jugs, with her head resting against them. But that still doesn't give her any neck support. And the neck support, without having that, or laying flat on your back, without that, your neck is going to bend and flex, right? She does, Borrowed Angel, I agree. So what I'm wondering is, was Summer's picture taken at a different location, in a different position, and someone has inserted her into the back seat using artificial intelligence? That could be the reason why the lap belt was not across her chest. Burnt Dirt said, TBI lists the swimming video as the last video. They did. They said that was the last known video of Summer. And I also wonder if that was recorded on June 15th. I don't know if it was just like the last known video, period, because they didn't clarify that either. And that left me open for questions, you know? Was that actually taken on June 15th? I kind of feel like that was taken before that day as well. I felt so strong about the concerning things that I saw with Summer. The bruising, the color of her fingernails and her cuticles and her fingertips. I wanted to talk to the DA's office. I wanted to ask the district attorney, is there any way that this video can be used as evidence, as circumstantial evidence? I have a background in medical. I have a background in nursing. They never called me back. I left a message with, what was it? Dear Becky? I think it's her name. Hang on one second. Hey, Diana. Good to see you, honey. How are you? Love you too. I hope you're doing good. So I contacted the DA's office with this question, but they won't call me back. So I called the police department and I talked to a detective here. I miss you too. I hope you're doing good. It's good to see your pretty face. And I felt compelled to do it. I was worried that, you know, if she had been hurt or harmed, you know, if these things that we're seeing on the video could somehow prove circumstantial evidence that she was injured and was not sought medical attention. And I wanted to tell them the things that I saw. I wanted to tell them and describe to them the potential injuries and what could have caused them and how detrimental they were to her overall well-being. And you know what the detective told me? He said, you can't use it. You can't use the video. It can't be used. So what does that tell us? It's one of two or possibly both options. The video's been edited. The video occurred on a different day, or both. And I said, well, it didn't. It's like when he said that, it was nothing. I mean, I couldn't completely think of all the reasons why. You know, I was on the spot. I was not expecting them to say that at all. I was shocked and kind of dumbfounded. And my mind immediately went to, they edited and put fake injuries on her to pretend that she was hurt, to make us think that she was injured, when in fact she may not have really been. And I said, but why? Why? Why would they add or edit her to look like she was hurt or injured or not well? And there was, he just, you know what he said? He goes, ha, 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 ha. That's it. There was nothing else. I guess he didn't want to tell me anything else, right? But the point is it was made to deceive. It was made for deception. Whether, I mean, it's possible maybe she was injured. That is possible. But I do feel like if she was, I do not feel like it was truly representative of Summer in that vehicle. It was as if she was in a different position, maybe laying on her side somewhere on the ground or somewhere else. I don't know. And she was artificially, they used possible artificial intelligence to insert her into the vehicle looking that way. Added the milk jugs. I don't believe those milk jugs were really in that back seat. Sorry, I don't. You know, there's a spot I was listening to on Justin for All. Spirit, I think her name is Spirit Seeker Squad, did a great job. I mean, phenomenal job on the milk jug video, breaking it down. And she had some awesome points and comments and commentary about it. She broke everything down, you know, it was fantastic. And she was looking at the milk jugs. I think it was the one on the bottom. And she said, I can see like a bubble. And she said, that tells me that this was a clear jug and not a white one. When you zoom in, though, it looks like it's been blurred out, is what it looks like. To me, it looked like maybe they were removing a date stamp or something. I don't know. But you guys notice the video of Summer is different than the picture, right? It's not There was not a screenshot. I mean, what I'm trying to say is the picture is not a screenshot that was taken from the video, because Summer's right hand is in a completely different position. Her right wrist, that's where the elbow's like tucked into the milk, the right wrist is like completely flexed, almost at like a 90-degree angle. And in my opinion, that is from possible distortion of editing the video. When you start doing those things, some things can start becoming distorted, right? Hang on one second. I'm freezing. Gosh, it's freezing. Okay, sorry. Hey, Lisa K. How are you doing? Let's see. Partner, this, I'm going to read Bard Angel real quick. The swimming video was TikTok video. You can draft a video as long as needed. Lisa K said, I have the original milk jug video and picture from Candace. She doesn't know how to use AI. The swimming video metadata said 6:15 at 12:51. Hey, good to have you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, Lisa, I agree. I don't think Candace probably doesn't know how to do that either. But you know what was really interesting was I watched a video the other day that I think her name is that bitch Mama Bear did. And she was talking about, oh goodness, a lot of things. I don't know if you guys have watched it or not, but she was talking about how she and her family, I'm just going to say family because I think the person's a minor, but they were put in this awkward predicament around H and trying to talk to him, and evidently a creator or someone liked her family members' editing skills, and the fact that she knew how to make movie or videos and is really good at computer stuff. So what I say is they have contacts that certainly know how to do those things, Lisa. And the intent to deceive the public is there for whatever reason. And they talk to many people. I remember in one of the law enforcement reports, I can't remember, I think it was the TBI that had written it. And it was regarding all the interviews that they had to do and the people that they had to speak with. And that was one of the things that they had mentioned was the fact that they had to talk to several people because their contacts were so vast. So I feel like so my question, the burning question is that I have revolving around the video is it possible that Summer, her appearance was edited to look worse than what she really looked? Did they add those things? The bruising of the right earlobe, the fingernails and their discoloration, the way her temple looked and her lip looked busted, and the appearance of a red saturation stain in her abdomen, pelvic area. Were those things added to make us think that she was hurt or injured? Or did they possibly remove things that were worse, trying to make her look better? Hey, Nana for Life. Welcome, honey. I'm glad you could come by. Laura Croft. Bruising? Yes, she did. Darlene, why would they do that? Then report her missing. Well, I don't know exactly. I think, let's say, let's just kind of speculate a little and kind of have a scenario of concern. Let's say, for one thing, let's say that someone was possibly in trouble with CPS, or they were not taking no for an answer, or, trying to run from some things. If you wanted to send a child away and hide them potentially, you could create a video like that to try to have the public's perception going that she was injured, possibly, and not well, which leads them away from a possible hiding, right? In the first moments after Summer was reported missing, when the father spoke on the news, it was immediately sort of like a finalized type. Like he spoke so in finality, talking about the resurrection and talking about she was just gone. There was no hope. It just seemed very final to me. And I feel like it's I mean, you don't know until you go through that, right? You don't know how you would feel. You would hope that you would have hope. You would hope that you would try so desperately to search for answers, to not give up, to not go immediately to the worst case scenario possible. But it was more like that in the beginning, right? And continued to be that way. So I asked myself, was that an attempt to also direct the public's attention in that same case scenario? Let's see what you guys are saying. I'm sorry, I'm so cold. I'm freezing. I'm just shivering. Yeah, y'all, please like the video if you can. Why would they make themselves look worse unless forced to do so? I don't know. That's a good question. I guess if there's not a lot of evidence. You mean, like, why would you intentionally add areas that appear to be bruises that aren't? I don't know. Unless there was just such a lack of evidence that couldn't confirm that. But, a lot of, well, I don't know about a lot, but several children that were harmed or have been harmed, parents or the ones close to them have filmed videos or taken pictures seemingly as a proof of life type picture. Yeah, Nana for Love said there's a lot of pictures floating around that have been manipulated. I agree with you. Feeling better? You had it last week, Lisa? Oh, no. You've had mycoplasma for oh gosh, Borrowed Angel. I'm sorry. I think my mom had that too. They prescribed her some clarithromycin, and that finally started working. She's doing much better now too. And my niece, I think she had it as well. And they gave her Augmentin, and that didn't work. So they switched her to azithromycin, and she finally picked it. You guys stay well. Get better. Nana said, in my opinion, based on the pictures I have, there's no bruising on her face or blood on clothing. Nana, did the pictures that you have, is there any stain on her jacket in the center? Oh no. Did you go get another C-test? Did you get a C-test, Part Angel? That's strange, Lisa. I'm glad you were negative. I don't know. It took my sister, gosh, I think it was 4 or 5 days before she tested positive. She had tested earlier in her illness. This last time she had it, that was back in October. Her and the kids all got it, and her husband too. But for some reason, she wasn't mounting a positive until I think it was day 5, maybe. So you may want to think about it if you're. I don't know how long it's been or how long you've been sick. That's the trickiest daggone virus, I'm telling y'all. But I've only seen pictures that had that stain on them. And of course, where some creators have manipulated like the contrast of the video or picture, and it can make it look brighter or darker, or even the lighting. But I've always seen it. I've never seen a picture that didn't have it on there. But to me, it doesn't look like a spill stain. It does look like a saturation stain where something on the inside, has gotten a stain on it and has soaked through the outer layer of fabric on her jacket right there, right at the seat belt, the bottom lap belt part. And it even looked like some of that had come onto the lap belt itself. But I don't know if it's possible that, if Summer was hurt, if she had been hurt that day or the day before or whenever, I do worry that that was some attempt to have a proof of life video to show. But LE is fully aware of the discrepancies. They are aware and they know. So that's the point. The point is that there is a part of that is not valid, that is not let's just say it's not representative of Summer Wells on June 15th, 2021, riding in that car. And they are fully aware of that. Lisa, you said that she looks healthy, happy, and lively swimming that day. Yeah. Nana for Life, I don't know if you were here earlier, but that's what we were talking about. How many times they've been manipulated in screenshots, right? And that was why I had called, and the detective said that the video can't be used. It's not a representation of Summer on that day. Uh-oh, my battery's getting low, y'all. Hang on, I'm about to plug it in. Hang on 1 second. Man, that didn't last long at all. Y'all keep chatting, okay? I'm back. Sorry about that. None of us know what happened June 15th, or if any of the pictures we have are the original or not. The misinformation, misrepresentation of said information concerns me since there's few facts. I agree with you, Nina. I totally agree with you on that. Did you guys read? You missed what Ellie? Oh, I'm sorry. What they said? I called. I first called the DA's office. I wanted to ask them if the video could be used as circumstantial evidence because Summer appeared to be unwell and have injuries to her that were concerning, and I wanted to know if there was any way that, you know, even someone would have the ability to analyze it and testify that those could have been injuries due to whatever. They didn't call me back. They wouldn't return my phone call. So I called a detective and asked them, and they did talk to me. And I told them this, basically asked the same thing and wanted to know if that could be utilized. And he told me that you cannot go by that. It cannot be used. And I was like, I couldn't understand why. Why not? Why could it not be used? And he just kept telling me, you can't use it. It cannot be used. And my mind immediately went to, for some reason, that maybe someone had altered it to include injuries that possibly weren't even there to direct the public's perception that she could have been hurt. And I was like, why would anyone do that? And basically there was no answer, just a chuckle. They weren't going to give me any more information other than that. But I just feel like the way Summer was sitting in the car, it's just not physically possible for her to have been asleep without her neck being slumped in a completely relaxed position. You know, there was a way that she was sitting that, due to gravity itself, it's just not possible. And then her right hand, her right wrist in the video is like flexed completely at a 90-degree angle, where like her fingertips are almost touching the inside of her forearm. That is not possible either, unless you had a really bad injury, possibly like a neurological response to head trauma or a fractured wrist. But even then, and she was wearing that, like those silky pants, like a tracksuit, right? Even if your elbow is like positioned in between the milk jugs, that hand resting on your lap, your wrist is going to naturally unflex. It's going to naturally fall down. Okay. So in my mind, I feel like when editing possibly occurred, that it distorted that part of her hand. it distorted that portion of her wrist and hand, making it look that way. I don't know, Borrowed Angel, who submitted it. I know Candace had put it on her TikToks, I believe, first. And I think the swim video too, right? Have I seen someone so medicated that it could be arranged that way? Are you referring to their wrist? No, I haven't. Because the more, the only way I think that it's like physically possible, like I said, is if, if someone had head trauma and they have like non-purposeful movement, or there's something called the fencing response where you put your, from head trauma, it's a neurological response where your arms make these non-purposeful movements or are raised up like the sport fencing. And then sometimes it could be one extremity, it could be both extremities, it could be all four of them, it could be one side or the other. But also there's something called decorticate posturing that can occur where your joint, at the joint, it contracts, and that would cause the wrist to flex. Now that is possible, kind of like a cerebral palsy thing. That's more like muscular. This is more like, and it's not, I don't know how to say it. It's, if that was what had happened, then that could have been one it's usually typically all joints or like bilateral joint flexion or extension if it's decorticate posturing. Are the photos and videos you're looking at the original ones? I doubt it. I very seriously doubt I've seen anything original. Jody says that she was rigid when she was born. I remember that, Bird Angel. I do remember her saying that. Nana, go back. Did you say that up here that you had an original? If you do, in the video, I want you to go back in the video and look. And you'll probably have to pause it because it's such a brief moment in time that they even capture somewhere in the back seat. But I want you to look at her right wrist and right hand and how it's positioned, if you've got it. And you'll notice that it's like her wrist is flexed with her fingertips like pointing upward toward her upper body where your wrist is bent. And what I'm talking about is that position is not sustainable in a normal average person. Even the way her arm's sitting, you think on that tracksuit, even if your arm is resting against your pants, your leg, when you're asleep and not awake, you're relaxed, and your arm will fall, your head will fall down, your neck will bend, where you're, like your chin's gonna touch your chest. That's a sleeping child in the back seat due to gravity. That's what those things look like. But she didn't appear that way. Her neck was erect and head. And then she had that wrist. That was bizarre. Nina, did you tell me that you had those? For some reason, when I scroll up and chat on my computer, it's like the messages start to disappear. It's weird. Her legs were bigger than normal. Summer's legs were thin normally. I saw some people have mentioned that, Bart Angel, and I'm not a very good judge of that. I couldn't tell, you know how when you sit down on a seat, how your legs look bigger. Hey, Heather Lynn, how are you, honey? Good to see you. Like they'll spread out and such. Why was the hood to the side? It would seem like it would have to be to get to that position. I don't know. I'm thinking, let's just say someone was sitting without leaning. Let's say, and then she leaned over to the right side. That could possibly cause that hoodie on the side to move over to the left as she slides. But it looked too placed. It looked too perfectly placed, in my opinion, for that to have happened. But I don't know for sure. Lisa K, did you have an original? How in the world did you get that? Yeah, that's true. No one knows if they have the original other than someone who created the original. But like I said, guys, that did worry me when I found out that they had reached out to H and talked about videos and editing, and that there was someone that they knew that had really good skills as far as videography goes and streaming and all these things. And another creator had mentioned in his live stream one time, he did a stream on AI. This has been a long time ago now, y'all, like probably last year sometime, I think. And he said, he said, I bet AI, or yeah, I think he said, I bet AI could help missing children's cases. And at that moment, it was just like, wait a minute. Do you really think so? Do you really think? And then I'm just thinking, how could it benefit them? I could see people putting kids in places that they never were, right? Trying to throw LE off. Or their parents, even, if it was a kidnapper, or God only knows. I don't know how it could benefit missing children cases or missing person cases. I don't know, but I can think of ways that it could be detrimental to their case. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's just some pictures that, and now this little girl, this child was talking about seeing these photos of her. I don't know if there's any truth or validity to it, but she was very upset, talking about that she looked bruised and hurt. Why was she in charge of looking at those? How does she have access to those? Did she cover those up? Did she clear those up? I have questions. Now I've asked. I said, hey, Whistle, how are you, honey? Good to see you. I said, did they ask you to edit those videos or photos? Anybody? Family, friends, I don't care who it was. And she said, no, I did not do that or something like that. I commented in the comment section because I wanted to know. The important thing, though, is that Ellie knows, and they're capable of knowing if something's somehow they've got some kind of technology that tells them, I guess, because the detective told me that, and I believe him. You got to get up early for it, Angel. Oh, thank you for coming, honey. It's so good to see you. You have a good night and get some good sleep, okay? Thank you for coming. Heather Lynn said no way she had them unless H or someone else sent her a phone, which could be possible. Yes, ma'am, it is. And there's a few things that really worried me with what was it? Some statements that were made during the Chris McDonough interview that the interviewer did. One of those was when Candace brought the phone to him, or when she came by after, what was it, the day after or the next day? It was either Wednesday or Thursday after Summer disappeared or was reported missing. He said that she came by there and he went through her phone. Remember that, you guys? And he said, I went through her messages. I went through her Google Photos, I think, because things end up in the trash there, such as messages. I don't know. Is that true? Do your text messages go to your Google Photos? He said he's good with tech. And he said he went through and he read 13 messages from the one that you guys and Andy, right? He said it was done. And then he said he cleared them out. He said, I cleared them out. Yes, Heather Lenny said that. Let's see. So I'm like, wait a minute. Were you deleting things off of her phone for her? Because he acted like he was being sneaky about it, right? So she wouldn't know that he had it on her phone. But I'm sorry, guys. There was so much yawning and stuff in that interview that I don't believe it all. Okay? I don't. And then he said he cleared them out. I'm thinking, are you deleting evidence? What? That's what I'm questioning. She admitted it was Andy, but not in context. People thought, yeah, I heard that comment too. That was something that was said that was a red flag. Another red flag was when his mother did an interview on Unmasked, and she was talking about how H had tried to call her to tell her that Summer was missing. Oh, and in the previous interview, H said Yeah, 'cause they called me not too long after they dropped me off to tell me she was missing. That was his red flag number 2. She called me not too long after they dropped me off to tell me she was missing. Yes, Burnt Dirt, 13 messages. That's right. Why would H think it's okay to do that? I'm not sure that I even believe H did that. I don't know, Nana. Unless he's doing favors for things. Unless he was witness to something. Something happened, perhaps, with them around. Trying to possibly paint a picture that things that never happened. And get rid of certain evidence. I don't know. But then Miss Allison said, was talking about them trying to call her to tell her Summer was missing. But she said she had her phone turned off. It's like, what? Who turns their phone off these days? That's an act of intentionally doing something. Why would you turn your phone off? And why would it be at the time that Summer's reported missing? That's a red flag number 3. If you don't want someone to know your location, you're going to turn your phone off. Right? So the GPS won't pick it up. Wasn't that the battery was dead. It wasn't I left it at home. I forgot it. Wasn't any of that. Who turned it off? Allison. Your phone is on 24/7. Mine is too. And I think it was said so freely, and so it was not like the main point of, like sometimes people, when they're lying or trying to be deceptive, they're making it a big point to try and convince you of something, right? This wasn't like that. It was just kind of like normal conversation, talking about the events, but then just, it was almost just like it was very casually mentioned. And then I was like, whoa, wait a minute, that don't sound good. Once turn their phone off? No, I have not. I'm afraid if something were to happen, I wouldn't, if I didn't have my phone on and with me, that I would miss it. And I don't know how we survived before cell phones. Do you guys? Didn't Allie say, see, FaceTime her around 11? Yes, she did, Darlene. She did say that. Earlier, though, I believe, was it the CM interview where she said, when they were outside talking on the porch, didn't she say something like, what was it? They tried calling her. See, Candace, they tried calling her. Couldn't get a hold of her. And then she called H first? Gosh, I can't remember. Which one was first? Oh, she called H first, allegedly, he said. And he said he didn't believe her because it wasn't that long, he said, before they dropped me off that she called to say that she was missing. That's right. And I said, well, you're going to have to call Allie. So allegedly, they dropped him off at 2:30, right? Around that. So did she really go missing around 2:30? But then later on, it was said she acted like she didn't. Allison acted like she didn't talk to her till 11 that night. I don't get that. I want to read you guys something. I want to read you. Have you all read the letter that Candace wrote to Don while he was in jail? Have you all read that letter? Partner said she was at Leslie's grandson's football practice. Allegedly, yeah. That's what they said, I believe. Let me find it. I'm going through my saved stuff. Okay, here it is. Now, I don't know exactly the order because I took screenshots that were not, they weren't in the order of how that was written. So you'll have to forgive me if I read this one too. I've got three. I've got 3 pictures, and there's like 3 or 4 pages. Nana, you read that? How did that make you feel when you read the letter? What did you think? My heart breaks for them, for both of them. I know they're hurting. I do. And this letter makes me feel like something traumatic happened this summer. And I want you guys to see how you feel. And some things that she says in here. It's been a while, Bertha, that you've read them. In ink, not pencil. Yeah, this one's in ink. She's written it very neatly. Okay, just bear with me. She starts out and she says, Donnie, I really don't know how to say this. Please don't take this wrong. I do love you. We've been through a lot in the past 15 years we've been together. We have 2 totally different ways of lives. Yes, you have support our family financially, but it takes more than that. Money can't buy you happiness, and you can't buy love with it. We both have hurt each other one time or another. Yes, there was some happy times in our 15 years we spent together. Sometimes people make it together, Hang on one second. This is where it gets kind of tricky. And some don't. Sometimes people make it together and some don't. I do not know what our future holds for us. Only God knows. She says this is the important part to me. June 15th, 2021 killed me. I know it did you too. And then a few days later, I died a second time. In my mind, in my heart, I feel like Summer could have been hurt or sick, and she wasn't well. Now, did they take her somewhere to try and get better? Somewhere, not a hospital, maybe. Somebody's house, maybe. Somebody that had medical experience. Somebody that was a nurse, a doctor, a medic, a paramedic. I don't know. But then a few days later, she died a second time. And she says, there's so much we done gone through. Yes, forgiving someone or something is easy, but forgetting things and people that have done things are not so easy. Even with God on your side and with you, you just can't forget. So there's so much, she said, we done gone through. Yes, forgiving someone or something is easy, but forgetting things and people that have done things. People, who are these people? Are not so easy. She says, I know that you probably hate me for this. I feel there's nothing more for us. I know I won't get the boys back, but I know you probably will. Why does she feel that way? I love you, but our lives are so much different. I've tried holding on all these years, even when you've done the things you have. Yes, I forgive you for it all, but I can't forget it. Even being sober, it all haunts me. Or hurts me, I'm sorry. I know I've done my wrongs as well, so we just leave it at that. Anyways, there's so much I want to say to you, but you would not understand. I hope you get everything hang on one second. I hope you get everything you want in life. With Summer and Josie, Wyatt, Waylon, all stolen from us, there's nothing left for me and you. As sad as that is for me to say, there's nothing left besides an empty house and property I don't want to be at ever again. Yes, burnt dirt after the 15th, a few days later. There's nothing left, she said, besides an empty house and property I don't want to be at ever again. She didn't want to go back. She don't want to be in the house. You want to be in Utah or Wyoming. I don't. But then she says, I can't leave here without Summer or the boys, and I won't. God knows what's going to happen. I don't. Hold on. She said, God knows what's going to happen. I don't, But I have to say, see you later, because we are going in 2 different directions in our lives. Love, Candace. And that's the end. So when I read that letter, I feel a certain way. I feel her pain. I feel just a portion of it, right? Just, I can't imagine her pain. But you guys, the narrative, I don't want to say narrative, the push from the beginning has always been against someone in particular due to their alleged history, right? But what if that's not true? What if that's not true? What if there's someone else that hurt her? It's possible. We know that the CPS case bleeds over into Summer's case. We know that people have told things that weren't conflicting, right? But I listened to Mr. Wells talk on Shares one night, and you know what he said? He said, he was talking to Jody Sue, and he said, Jody Sue, I know the truth, you know the truth, and God knows the truth. And I don't think that was anything theatrical. I think that came from the heart. It's it just felt that way. And Cher always said he always wanted to talk to her father, right? He always wanted to talk to her father. And she's came and told her audience that, her father has been incarcerated for committing the big M word. But that night in her chat, the way that the live stream was going, the way that they were speaking, I felt like the things that they were saying about her father, I felt like her father was potentially covering for someone. Like he did the time for somebody else, maybe. And I asked that in the chat. I said, did Cher's dad cover for somebody? And one of our moms said, yes, Bertie. Yes, he did. Who that is, I don't know. If it's true, I don't know. But it was just like, oh my God. And then that was the same night, I believe, that Mr. Wells had said that. It was just weird. And you all know, you all have seen it. This community, there's a lot of people on here that have criminal activity, that have done things, right? That, all kinds of bad things. And people support them. They send them money, send them cash apps. They try to bail them out when they need it. There is no accountability. If they fall off the wagon, go through a really hard time, catch some criminal charges, it's like a codependence. It's like, I don't want them to hurt. I don't want them to feel the struggle. I don't want them to have to suffer any or be accountable for the things that they've done wrong. Therefore, I'm going to send them $100. That is not a good mentality to have. If people truly want to change and truly want to get better, they have to do it for themselves and they have to do the work. Whether that's getting a job, getting sober, getting mental health assistance. I don't know. I think I'm rambling now. Yeah, that bothers me, Darlene. Darlene said that Jody Sue claims he would holler at her at those times, burnt dirt. That really bothers me because I listened to her talk about, the kids having injuries, ailments, and, different things that were wrong with them. And she would take them to her for advice. So the concern is that if that in fact did happen, that a medical professional didn't look at those injuries. Those weren't documented. Because what you look for is a pattern. What you look for is repetition, bruises, and various stages of healing. And she's right. She said, well, you can't call on a dirty diaper. They could change the diaper. Can't call on something like that. No, but did you always see a dirty, saggy diaper? Was that common? Because I bet if you took that diaper off, I bet you they had a diaper rash. And that could be neglect right there in itself. Boom. Sure, all kids get diaper rashes every once in a while. Absolutely. Mine would if he ate a lot of fruit because of the acid in the fruit. Or fruit juice. It was mostly fruit juice. It wasn't fruit. It was the juice. So we had to really limit that and water it down a lot because the acidity of it. But if it's a pattern, repetitious, that's what's concerning. That's why children need to be seen by the professionals that can document these things if there is a concern. And there it's documented, it's on paper. It is evidence, it is tangible. So yeah, I remember that, Lisa, about the calls and stuff, and I don't know what went on in that house, y'all. I don't know. I know what's been said, but I didn't live there. I never knew them. I hope they weren't hurt. But if Nana, if you've got the original video or photograph, I'd be interested to see it and see the difference in that and what the others, have had to compare them and see if someone did, in fact, add those things to Summer to make her look like she had been hurt or was unwell. I don't know, Darlene. I don't think I heard that. I'm not sure. There's a lot more I want to talk about, though, about that, but it's getting late tonight. It's actually the next day. We've now changed over to 11/19/2023. I'm so glad you all stopped by and talked to me tonight. I do wonder if I tell you what I do wonder. I do wonder if there were truly open CPS cases. And if so, how many? How many were open and closed throughout the duration of Summer's life, especially? Because you could sense her frustration, right? Several times, case after case, open and closed. There had been digging. She said she'd been digging for even before the Utah trip, she said, actually. Because there was some suspicion there about some things. Makes me wonder. Well, I guess I'm going to let you guys get to bed. Did y'all need to say anything before I go? If you all have any incredible tips on Summer, her whereabouts, or the events leading up to her disappearance, as always, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. I've got something interesting to tell you guys next week about when we went down the river. Oh my gosh, what happened? The experience I had. It was wild. And how it was handled. And it's pretty interesting. We were in Churchill, by the way, when we floated. Yeah, you wonder. Burnt Dirt, I know how that police report made things seem, right? And you guys just know sometimes people are smooth talkers. Sometimes people can bond with the male or the female and make things sound a certain way, even on a police report. And it doesn't always paint the accurate picture of what's going on in that home. It could be as simple as they don't want to follow up on it. They don't want to call CPS. They don't want to involve other agencies or other resources. It could be laziness. It could be anything. A favor. Now, we all know that's illegal, right? It absolutely should not ever happen. But I just wonder if it does sometimes. Or it could have been exactly what had happened. I don't know. I don't know. I think they had both had some beverages that evening, hadn't they? When that happened. Is that the one that you guys are talking about where they played the 911 call? Are you talking about that instance? And I didn't think Summer was upset when I didn't think she sounded like that on that phone call. I thought she was talking about her dog Yucky. Mommy, Mommy. Something about Yucky. Something about Yucky. And then Candace said something. He's always trying to hurt Summer. I thought she was talking about the dog, to be honest with you guys. I thought Candace was talking about the dog just being. I didn't think she was. That's just how I perceived it. I don't know. You guys may have perceived it differently. Yeah, that's true, Burnt Dirt. Pick up on what really they're too afraid to report. That's true. You just never know. I do know. I have a friend that was worked in the police department, and he said that he told me that most death scenes are due to domestic violence, and that a lot of times cops that get injured or killed on the job, a lot of times it's due to domestic. It's due to a domestic, them going to a domestic. And there was actually a police officer that was killed in Bristol. This was years ago, when arriving on a scene to a domestic call, and he was shot and killed. I wonder how many times they had to go out there. I don't think they're releasing all of the. I don't think all the calls are out there. I'm not sure on that. Do you guys know? You said the grandma called, Lisa K. I need to create a banner, you guys, with the domestic violence hotline on it. And the crisis hotline, which you can text 988 if you're ever in a crisis situation. And the mental health things. Maybe I can figure out how to do that and upload it somehow soon. Lisa said in her state, if there are any injuries or marks or bruises, Ellie is required to arrest someone, no leeway. Yes, that's a great idea. And I thought at one point Tennessee was, I thought at one point Tennessee was a state that had that law, but I'm not too sure on that now. Thank you, Laura, for coming by. I appreciate you so much. And thank you, Burnt Dirt, too. They dropped the ball. Gabby, yes. That was so sad. Poor Gabby. There are so many women and men too in intimate partner violence situations that it's completely out of control. and oh my gosh, domestic violence, domestic abuse that kids are witnessing and growing up around, and it's so traumatic. And there's so much mental health in our world that is not being addressed, and it's continuing. It's just, God, it's awful. That's one thing I wish our country did better of was, having more resources available, affordable, and accessible for people suffering from any kind of mental health disease. And its treatment, therapy, everything. And that the stigma would go away from it. Seeking help is not a character flaw. It's courageous and it's the right thing to do, and it will help you. Oh, he was embarrassed. Yeah. I would imagine a lot of people feel that way. That makes it difficult. But there is help out there, and there's resources. You can always talk to your family doctor about it. They usually have social services, case managers that they can reach out to and get you help. As well. But I'm going to let you guys go. And I appreciate you so much for coming this evening. I'm going to go warm up. Get a big furry blanket. You all have a good Sunday. And God bless. Take care. I'm thankful for you. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.